Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well this week. A couple of weeks ago, I got a couple of invites to do some reviews, and this actually happened to be one of them. Kronos, the 1957 cult classic UFO film revolving around man's folly and the overconsumption of both man-made and natural goods. But you guys don't really care about that, right? You want to know about Kronos. Wow. Well, settle in. When I first got this invite, I read into the server a bit and realized that it was barely over 6 weeks old. 6 weeks old? How can such a new server be any good? It's going to be full of bugs, scripting's going to be terrible, I'm half expecting to log in and fall through the earth. But, to my great surprise, the scripting is great. I logged in, took a deep breath of nostalgia, started questing, and immediately had a chest stolen from me. What a prick! Really could have used that white belt and refreshing spring water. Bugs are few and far between. While I full cleared all of Elwyn Forest and Westfall, I was hard pressed to find any major ones, with the exception being of a Cobalt Labor being bugged. The server is also very stable. I didn't have one crash while I was playing. Not that it doesn't happen, but it didn't happen to me. In the week or so it took me to do the review, the latency, for the most part, was around 200 to 250. I've seen better, but I have to say, the way that this game reacts to your commands is great. Some of these servers, I've noticed if you mash buttons, cough cough warrior tanking, the keys will kind of fidget and override each other. It's not a big deal if you're a fan of using macros, but I prefer to have full control over my character, so this is something that's kind of a minor annoyance to me. It's nice to see that they fixed it here. Both the line of sight and pathing works great here, which is something that's really important not only when you're leveling, but also in PvP, dungeons, and raids. A lot of the dungeon pulls were really reliant on line of sight pulling, so it's nice to see that the care actually went into this server. Class abilities also work well here, and trust me, you're gonna need them. The population does seem to be growing, but it also fluctuates a lot. From what I was able to gather, the server is heavily Euro-based, which makes sense since this server is located in the Czech Republic, but if you plan on playing North American times, it's pretty typical to see around 200 players on the weekdays and a little over 400 on the weekend. This number easily doubles at nighttime though, so if you're planning on playing what would be considered a European server, or maybe if you're from one of the Baltic states, this is a great option for you guys because there's going to be a lot of people to play with. One important thing I need to mention about Kronos, it is a pure 1x Blizz-like server. The drop rate, gold rate, and experience are all the same you would have seen in retail. So if you don't like the grind, this might not be a good server for you. You are going to be grinding quite a bit. Donations are allowed and are redeemed for what Kronos refers to as stars. These are your donation points. You may only donate for flavor items such as mounts, but not the training, pets, tabards, novelty items for the most part. But one thing that I found really interesting is the Twin Star servers actually allow a character trading system as well as a for-purchase character system. Don't feel like playing a rogue anymore? No problem. You can trade accounts with a mage and play the class you really desire, assuming he wants a rogue. Don't feel like leveling? Player level characters can also be sold on their Toon auction system. I'm not sure I would be 100% comfortable doing this, but it is really interesting where most servers forbid you to sell or trade your characters. Twin Star actually encourages it, but I just really can't. I have to question the security of it. Kronos also implemented the old Innkeeper looking for group system. I'd actually totally forgotten about this option until I tried this server. It's kind of cool that they put it in, but if you don't remember it, that's okay. It wasn't around in retail for very long. The main issue with this option was it wasn't exactly selective on who it grabbed, so it was possible that you could get Rogue, Hunter, Mage, and Warlock. Well, who the hell's going to tank and who the hell's going to heal? The server offers the world chat though, so that's honestly a better option for finding a group anyways. I was able to get a group for Dead Mines fairly easy, and I was able to smash through it in a brisk 1 hour and 5 minutes. God, did we just have no life back then? I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all, but it's easy to forget just how long these instances took. When we look at today's heroics, which can typically be done in 15 minutes, it's quite a bit of a difference. Even once the heirloom gear got introduced, these dungeons became an instant snooze fest, essentially running through and just AoE tanking everything. I actually had a hard time finding flaws on the server. They're there, and I'm sure I'm overlooking a lot of them, but mainly it's vanilla WoW, so you're going to be gold starved the whole time. I also had a really hard time selling anything on the auction house despite listing greens for a mere 10 silver, which meant that I probably wasn't the only one in this situation. When you can barely cover your talent points, gear becomes a bit of a luxury. This isn't uncommon on these servers, especially such a new server, but come on, let's face it. Professions for the most part were pretty useless. Almost no one levels them anymore, and the only reason we did in retail was, well, we were total noobs. We didn't know any better. By now, everybody knows what classes they like, everybody knows that professions are worthless, and everybody knows what they want to play, how they want to play, and how to level it. So, it's kind of hard to sell stuff on these auction houses. Almost every item that can be crafted can be sold also. Enchanting is very useful, but it's very expensive to level, and I've never had a hard time finding one to get my stuff enchanted at in-game anyways. I've brought it up before that these servers really need to implement a solution to fix that. In my mind, you have two options. Either an auction house bot that would buy useless crafting mats such as linen cloth, copper ore, low level herbs, and leather, a lot of the stuff that you would gather under level 20, at a fair price would be a great place to start. And while not being overpowered, would encourage people to buy items on the auction house. And although it wouldn't exactly impact the leveling of experience on a 1x server, it would make it more enjoyable and make for a healthier auction house. The downside is that it would require weekly maintenance and weekly gold restocking from a GM. It would be tedious, and it would require an account running 24 hours a day. So maybe a better option would be to use a combination of doubling the gold drops from mobs outside of dungeons and raids, and doubling or tripling the sell value of items. An example of this would be these shoes. They sell for 3 copper, and they would now sell for 9. These gloves sell for 2, and they would now sell for 6. And this mining shovel, which sells for a measly 47 copper, would sell for about a silver and a half. Nothing overpowered, but it would really help the health of these servers without the need for gold voting or donations, which can really inflate the currency of the servers. It would just basically allow people to go out and farm and actually make money. Honestly, there are a ton of positives about this server. I found the majority of the player base friendly, got into a really cool guild, got to do some quests, and really enjoyed myself. The server has a lot of potential to be great. On a personal note, however, there is one thing that really pissed me off. I can't fault the server for it, but I can fault the developers. I got invited to do a review of this server. The GM that invited me unfortunately stepped down halfway through. We had a plan all laid out of what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. I pride myself on doing full content reviews, and this means testing out in-game as well as in-game PvP. I was redirected to Chero, the lead developer on this server, and I'm not sure if maybe he was just busy, or maybe he couldn't be bothered, as my old British guildie used to say. But in either case, I made multiple attempts to contact this guy for over a week, and it was met with dead silence. Look, if you don't care about free publicity, that's fine. That choice is yours, but at least have the common courtesy to acknowledge that I exist. Again, this is just a personal complaint and not something I can fault the server for, but after reading the forums, it seems that I'm not the only person that had this problem. Look, here's my 2 cents and some food for thought. What happens if you were having this problem on a more serious issue? If you had an exploiting issue, or someone was cheating or harassing you? What if you had a major loot issue? Or heaven forbid, what if somehow you got your account hacked? Remember, you can buy and sell accounts on this server, so what if you get scammed? Are these the same type of people that are going to rush in and help you, or just simply blow you off? Again, it's not something I can fault the server for, but it is something that I kind of take issue with these GMs. Overall, I'd say this server is pretty awesome. The population is growing, and I think this server might actually be something special in about 6 months or so. For the time being, though, I still think they have some small kinks that they need to work out on the server, and they really need to improve on their customer relations. It's still worth looking into, though, especially if you're in one of the Baltic countries. This would be a great home for you. This server, again, is heavily populated by the Baltic community, so if you're from any of the former Yugoslavian countries, this is definitely something that you may want to check out. Thanks for taking a look at this video, though. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope I was able to answer all of your questions. Sorry for the limited review. Like I said, there was nothing I could do about it. I got blown off. I couldn't do my in-game reviews, so I will catch you guys next week. Hope you enjoy it. Alpha out.